Hello lovelies, welcome to this week's midweek wrap up. I'm so glad that you came along. Today I'd like to do something a little bit different. It's becoming a bit of a theme for a Wednesday upload that things are going to be a little bit different, but we will still be talking all about tickles, I promise. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about myself. It's come to my attention that I've had this channel for a little while now. It's coming up to a year soon, and I've never really spoken about myself. You guys don't really even know my name too well. Those of you who are also on Instagram and following me there probably know a little bit more, but I thought it was time to join onto the tag bandwagon and give you guys an opportunity just to get to know me and what I'm about a little bit. So I'm a big fan and a very follower of beautiful Leorah, whose channel will be linked below. She's an amazing woman. She's got a big family. She's a super mum and does the most exquisite tickles. So I absolutely love watching her. Her makeup skills are amazing and she's just an interesting person. And she did a wonderful tag a few weeks ago called the part-time YouTube tag. And there's about 8 questions, and it's really, I just found it really fascinating. And because she was the one who actually encouraged me to start a YouTube channel, one of her very first videos talks about, you know, the fact that she took a long time to start her channel, and she wishes that she didn't wait as long because it's not as scary as it seems once you get started. And I thought, you know what? You've got way more kids than me. You've got a career, a house, all the things that have been my excuse. I'm going to do it too and see how it goes. So thank you, Leorah. If you ever see this, I doubt it, but if you ever see this, thank you for being such an inspiration on every video you shoot, but especially that you got me started, and thank you for this tag. The original creators of the part-time YouTuber tag were linked below under Leorah's video, so I was able to pass them on to you guys. So if you want to watch the creators of this tag, by all means, they'll be down there as well. And we'll get right into it. So the first question is, what's your other gig? Well, I'm a mum of 2 small boys. My oldest, who is 5, just started school, which has been very exciting and novel experience for me, or for us, I should say. And his younger brother is 3.5, and he's in kinder full-time up the road. I am an orthoptist. $1 million question, what is an orthoptist? I think that was my first assignment at uni. What's an orthoptist? So an orthoptist is classically an eye clinician who treats cross-eyed, squints, things like that. Neurological conditions. Typically we work with kids that were born with turned eyes or have some sort of complications with their eyes. In Australia, it's a very unique job because we are so fortunate. We work alongside with ophthalmologists, and we're able to also treat geriatric diseases, and we get quite involved with the treatment. So for me personally, I deal a lot with general ophthalmology, which is cataracts, glaucoma, just general eye diseases as well. But we also run a macular degeneration clinic, and it has been just one of the most rewarding experiences of my whole career, which is nearly 10 years now since I graduated. It's a wonderful opportunity to help as little or as much as we can to these people who are facing losing all their sight. So very rewarding job, and I absolutely love what I do. I have to say I also work with 2 of the most amazing doctors I think out there. Shout out to Jess and Lisa, who are just absolutely beautiful and put their heart and soul in every single patient. What made you want to start YouTube? So I may have mentioned a little bit before, I love watching other people's channels. I love makeup. I've been into makeup since, I think, birth, but realistically I started selling it when I was in year 12 or year 11 for one company, and then moved on to another company, and I've always been involved with some kind of search, some kind of endeavor into finding a better product at a better price, and more than anything a cleaner product, because as we know, cosmetics can be quite full of chemicals which are no good for us. So I was inspired by Leorah, who said basically, don't wait, there's nothing so scary about it, and until you start you won't really know, and she was absolutely right. What is your channel about? Do you speak to one niche or do you cover a few? Well, I hope I cover a few. So I mentioned a little bit about makeup. Definitely on the road or on the journey to discovering cleaner makeup brands and nicer makeup products, and being able to create full colored looks with minimal consequence to your long-term health. That is my ultimate goal. But at the moment, just really enjoying being creative and having a creative space. Same thing with tickles. So started because it's a really wonderful good deed for a married woman to present as such, but it's just so beautiful, and it's an extra step of a creative process for the start of every day. Not only do I get to pick an outfit and things like that, you know, jewelry, makeup, all that kind of thing, but I get to really finish it off with a beautiful piece of headdress, and think of it just the same as putting any kind of hair accessory on to really enhance that outfit or finish that look. To me, this is just everything, but it's also a wrap. It's a big hug from above. It's also my protection, and it's also just a statement of who I am, because it's just another expression of my creativity. With time, I do hope to spread out a little bit more into the different things that we can talk about on this channel. But at the moment, just time allowing between work and kids and all that sort of stuff, I have committed to these two topics, which I'll talk about a little bit more on the tickles later on in this video. But it's my two biggest passions, because there is nothing really that allows me to be creative on a daily basis. There's just too many things to get done in my day. So in order to switch off that science brain that is required at work, the mum brain and the worry that's required for the family, the cook, the cleaner, the nurse, the everything else that a mum has to be, this has just been a creative outlet for me. And so far that's where it is, but it has every potential to be so much more. Did you always know YouTube would be a side gig, or do you want to be a full-time YouTuber? Oh my goodness. Actually, no. I think I always want to be an orthoptist, and if YouTube becomes a big deal, then thank God. I'm God willing, I'm open to anything. I would love for it to be bigger than what it is, even if it means one more subscriber, two more subscribers. I'm so happy to see even one more number in my monthly email from them. Honestly, grateful for absolutely anything. If it becomes one day something big, I will only just be more grateful. But I don't think I'll ever give up orthopting ever. It's just such a wonderful job. It's such a unique job, and it is with such wonderful people. I don't ever foresee myself giving it up, but then, you never say never. I just do extremely enjoy my career, and I do also love using the science brain. So I don't think it'll ever be completely YouTube, but I love having the balance of the two. What is your schedule like? When do you film and when do you edit? So I try to upload on a Sunday night and a Wednesday noon or night, just to split up the week a little bit. I usually try and film in advance, so it gives me plenty of time to edit and be disrupted a million times, and then I'll be ready for the upload on the night. So I always upload when you see it. That's just me sitting there putting all the details into YouTube and having it upload. Filming has been a mixed thing, so sometimes I film on the day of, and sometimes I have a few things stockpiled. And sometimes I have something already filmed, but I film something new just because of the way I've organized the channel. So my makeup looks versus my tickle videos. Sometimes I'll have a video that requires several days of filming, like for example today's. So, and we'll get to that. How do you keep your YouTube channel organized? Do you plan your videos ahead or just film what you feel like? To begin with, I filmed what I feel like, or whatever my brain would allow me to create in the moment. And I was very hard on myself to really keep to that original schedule of every single Sunday night. And in the beginning, it was really difficult. I didn't have the tools that I now have. So, for example, right now, the camera I'm filming on, that's a pretty new thing for me. In fact, in one of the videos that I first shot, and I said, oh, look at me, I have a new camera. The room I film in has changed, and there's been a few little sort of developments as this thing has become more of a regular part of my life. Even editing, I'm much more used to the software that I use than I was at the beginning, and the phone that I edit on is a lot faster than the phone I used to have and has more space. So that also allows me to do more things. It gives me a bit more freedom. I now do have a schedule because I find it much more easy to have an idea, quickly write it down and develop it further than to put that pressure on myself to really come up with things on the spot. And life happens. For example, at the moment, Alya will be, my oldest Alya, will be home on Wednesdays all of the first month of school, and I have to spend time with him, which is amazing, and I'm loving it. But it does interfere with what I would normally do on a Wednesday, which is sit and edit and plan for weeks in advance and maybe do some pre-shooting for some things and, play with tickles and see what kind of tickles I want to show you guys. Or there's the other hat I wear, which is my philanthropy hat. I also am the executive of a wonderful charity. So it's run by two of my really amazing friends, Sarah, who is just an absolute powerhouse. She is a brilliant writer, but she's also the mastermind, the heart, the soul, the everything, the motor behind Subotnik. And Subotnik runs Super Kitchen. So we are about bringing Russian-style kosher food to those who can't provide for themselves or cook for themselves. So there are a lot of programs available in Australia, kosher ones as well, free to people who can't help themselves. For example, if they're elderly or alone or unwell, you can reach out. There are those in place, but none of them have that home cooking, that typical Russian home, and certainly not all of them are free. So we are providing that niche at the moment through our Super Kitchen, and we also provide food hampers fortnightly. It's been an amazing and rewarding experience in of itself. So I'm in charge of all the creative part of that, actually, funnily enough. I do some of our posters and things like that, but really it's Sarah and her husband Avi who are mainly the runners and organizers and everything of this organization. We also have our beautiful chef Alya, who is, first of all, one of the most kind people I've ever met. She's just something else. Her energy is just something else, but she's a very talented chef, and she's been running our soup cook-offs, and I'll just show you some footage of that, and you'll see my tichel from that day, and perhaps we'll talk about how I did that as well. We're going to be doing all these wonderful container packaging. I'm going to put labels on, and I've got my most reliable helper with me. Smile. You would have seen on that tickle, it's basically the same as I've done this one. It's tied this way. It's the same as what I've got on at the moment, just to show you with this green one. So it's basically tied this way, kind of like this, like that. And then you just do 2 knots, one and then a second one, one and then a second one, and then tuck everything away. Today I've not done the second knot. I've actually tied it all the way around the back. So my second knot is at the back here. And then I've got more tails to come back around. One is tucked in under there, and the other one is actually here somewhere. See if I can find it. There it is. Fed back through. So coming around the back, I fed it through and then just tucking that away again. So same kind of concept, but 2 different looks. And for this one, you do need either a bun or a shaper or something just to hold on to, whereas the one that I did on the cook-off, you don't, because all of it's held on at the front, and so all you really need for that tickle is a head and a non-slip headband. The scarf I wore, the pink one, exactly the same as this one in terms of size and fabric and everything. It's just a different print. So I hope you do try it, because they're really easy and they're really, really beautiful. Both of them are so elegant, and they take probably the quickest of all of them to tie, because it's not done. So very, very, very simple and quite secure and very comfortable. Next question, how do you feel about sponsored videos on YouTube? Would you ever do one on your channel? Absolutely. 100%. I feel absolutely fantastic about sponsored videos. In fact, that's exactly how I research everything. So a lot of the time, if I want to buy makeup, the first thing I'm going to do is go and watch a review. And a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, it's been sent in PR or it's been sponsored by somebody. And that's fine. You know, if you don't believe in a company and you're going to go and spruik for them or talk about them or review them or anything them on a platform like YouTube, and you're going to be dishonest, say goodbye to your channel. It's as simple as that. You're going to be wiped. No one's going to follow you. No one's going to trust you. This is the original word of mouth space. No one's going to watch your channel unless you are trustworthy, unless they connect with you, unless they're interested in your content. So if you're going to sit there and lie, then what are they coming for? You know, what are they subscribing to? So I am all for sponsored videos. You know, maybe that's how I feel because I've never been sponsored. Maybe I don't know what pressures are put on people or how they overcome that kind of problem of having to be honest, even though they're being paid. I don't know. I personally wouldn't have an issue with it. You can pay me all the money in the world. I'm not going to sign a contract unless it's there. It's written in there that I can say exactly how I feel. You know, honesty is such a huge part of who I am and what I'm about. It gets in my way. Honesty is sometimes not the best policy, but that's okay. It's my personal best policy. It's what helps me sleep at night when the kids let me. And I think that as long as you're telling your truth, then why not be paid for it? That's totally fine. You know, we come across that same problem sometimes in medicine, where we used to get samples or, you know, the reps used to come around and tell us about their product, and they kind of sell you, and then you inevitably are selling their product onto the patient, and the patient trusts you. They know you. So for me, every single lubricating drop I've ever recommended, I have tried. I always recommend the ones I personally like or have had really good feedback about from other patients. So no matter what the reps come and tell me, unless I see the proof and have the review from real people, you're not going to get a recommendation from me anyway. And the same thing goes, I guess, for this channel. Unless I really like a particular scarf brand or I really like a particular makeup brand, I'm not going to recommend them. I'm not. And at this point, I'm paying with my own money for every single thing. So all the more reason to be extra honest about it, I guess, but it would not change if the tables were turned. Too much of a believer in just telling the truth, and it's a lot easier to remember what you've said when you've said what you feel. And I do believe that that was exactly what Leorah was saying. As long as you're open and honest, then there's no reason why you can't be earning an income for your opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. Last question. What do you think is the biggest challenge of doing YouTube part-time? And that is probably finding time. So at the end of the day, when you have a job to go to, you have a set time, you have to show up. You have potentially a boss to own up to. Same thing with running a business. You have clients that you have to answer to, all that sort of thing. So my mentality has been that my clients are my subscribers, and they have bothered to tune in and support me. And so I make sure that I have content that would be interesting for them to present every single video. And the day I don't have honest, fun content, or I'm really just not feeling it, or I'm unwell or anything like that, I'm not going to be the kind of channel that forces out content, because they're not the kind of channels I watch. Me personally, as a YouTube watcher, which is something I typically do when I'm lying in bed, I don't have leisure time during the day to spend on YouTube too much. If I'm lying there watching YouTube, trying to unwind, trying to just relax, I'm not going to watch content which is forced or which feels insincere. So I've set that rule for myself. I've got in front of me a notebook, and it's got written down ideas and inspiration, and you know, if I have a little idea, I'll put it down on a note and I'll attach it to my notebook later. So If it hasn't come from the heart, if it hasn't come from a moment of inspiration, then I'm not going to be passing it on to you because I believe that's ingenuine. All right, my lovies, I hope that you enjoyed this little bit of a different style video. The other thing I really wanted to share with you is not last Shabbos, but the Shabbos before, I officially took on a Hebrew name. So I'm now Alya in Hebrew, which is really, really fantastic. And I've always signed my descriptions as Alya because that is short for Alina in Russian. So anyone who you know who is called Alina, which is probably not too many people, very, very typical Russian name, but that's not too common, I guess. Everyone who's called Alina will sometimes have the pet name of Alya. That's quite common. So I've always been Alya. We've just gone ahead and made it official. So I'm now Alya in Hebrew. It was a very, very special day because on that beautiful day, my mum, who is not as observant as I am by any means, but she's a beautiful spiritual person, and she also took on a Hebrew name, which was just so good, such a proud moment for me as her daughter, that she was able to not only bring me to a country where it is absolutely free and you can practice who you are and live as you are and be whoever you want to be, and however you want to be, and the community is here, the support is here, the love is here. From Soviet Union, where there was no love, there was no freedom, and in fact you were very, very much discriminated against for being Jewish. So she took on a Hebrew name too. So now she is Zahava, which I love. It means gold. She definitely is a golden person. She has a heart of gold. She is extremely, extremely passionate and emotional and committed to her family. She is the best grandma. She is the best friend, and a really, really amazing support system. And even though I know it's really hard for her to be here to see the kids off to school when I have to go to work, she shows up and then goes off and does her own job and does her own work and has her own career. So she's just everything, and she's just the super mum everyone needs to know and needs to have one. So on that really positive note, I'd like to thank you so much for being a part of this journey and for coming along with me. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. I cannot stress that enough, how amazing it is to see the numbers grow. I love my little audience. I love you guys. It's just such a compliment to me that people actually come along and watch. And I'm working on so many ideas, as I mentioned. I've got lots of different tickle looks that I'm sort of experimenting with just to bring you. I've got a whole video coming up next week on a particular style of tickle. So I'd love for you to come along and watch next Wednesday as well. And this weekend we'll have a really fun makeup video going up, so that I'm working on. So that's all coming. If you haven't subscribed and you like what I do here, please press the subscribe button. There's nothing to it. Just click it and sign into YouTube, and that's it. You're subscribed. On Instagram, follow. I post there regularly, so it's really easy to see just day-to-day stuff. And it's just a little bit different over there on Instagram, bit of a different platform. So come along and sign up there too. Hit follow, and I really, really hope that anywhere you are around the world, that you're having an amazing day, that you're enjoying everything, and you are experiencing the opportunity to celebrate your creative side and do what you love. I really hope to see you on the next one. Bye.